at some point we are going to have to do a whole show about how good this show sounds.
Downballot. We do the show live now every Friday, 7:30 p.m. Pacific, right here on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/Echoplex Media. I don't know. I'm producer Dave, and you can find me on Grindr.
You can find me on Twitter, if it's still there, at THE_councilman. You can also find me creeping up on your house, maybe popping a little eminent domain and building an event for my BART station in your backyard.
An event for a BART station in my backyard?
Yeah, they need to vent the air and stuff because it's underground and stuff and it smells down there. So they got to vent it somewhere. So we're going to use your backyard.
It'd be fantastic if I opened the sliding glass door here and just went down some stairs and fucking the train took me to East Bay.
Right? Wouldn't that be fabulous? But first we're going to have to buy your property and completely demolish the house. So sorry about that. But we're going to give you fair market value.
Well, it's not really my house, so.
That's true. That's true.
But I would have
how are you doing?
I would have to disassemble everything in the studio here.
Oh, it'll be a pain in the ass.
My God, yeah, there's so much stuff here now.
After all that work too. Well, hopefully that won't happen. I'm not coming for your house, I promise. VTA might, but I won't. Anyway, how are you doing, Producer Dave?
Good. Been an eventful, busy week. Just real quick shout out to the person who made a rather large donation to this project today over Venmo and did so anonymously. I appreciate that.
Oh, thanks very much. We appreciate all of our donors, all of our sponsors, all of our friends, all of our subscribers on the Twitch. We really appreciate each and every one of you because we do this as a labor of love, but there are costs involved. And we really appreciate you enabling us to do this and bring this wonderful show Downballot to you so we can talk about all that's good in local news and local derp, and perhaps give folks from outside of our region a little glimpse into what makes it so unique and darned interesting.
Yep, it's been a while too since we've gone to somebody else's neighborhood to do some down ballots. So maybe next week or the week after, we'll pick another metro area, take a look at their news.
I think that'd be a fancy idea. We'll take suggestions, by the way, in the chat. So if there's anyone who wants to shout out their metro area,
or
we'll happily take a look.
Or if you're listening to the podcast or whatever, you can also make suggestions in Discord or email me or anything like that. And suggestions where people would offer to help us find news stories, those move to the front of the line.
Yeah, absolutely. If you include links to actual news stories and little blurbs, that would be really helpful. That way we can sort of judge, right, in advance. We don't have to do our own research. Because if anything, we're just lazy and we don't like to do that. Yeah, that's to do the work for us.
Yeah, that's mostly.
Mostly. That's Friday night.
We're already getting suggestions to do Beverly Hills. We could do Los Angeles metro area, I suppose.
Yeah, we could do like West Hollywood or Beverly Hills. There's actually a few little mini metro areas in LA. I don't know that they each have their own like news network, but they certainly have stories. We'll scour KTLA for some Beverly Hills stories. Anyway.
Yeah, what do we have for leading off this week?
Well, y'all might recall maybe 2 months ago, I forget honestly how long ago this was, we had the rather random story caught on video, a adult dancer, I guess, in a bikini getting out of a fire truck out in front of the Pink Poodle, which is one of our premier gentlemen's clubs here in San Jose, and walking into the club. Really no context at all for what was going on, but apparently the fire department at least has learned more, and they're about to bring down the pain, but there's still a little bit squishy on the details. So here's NBC Bay Area with a report.
Okay, so what exactly was that bikini-clad woman doing climbing out of the fire truck? It has been 5 months since we first showed you the video of a
5 months
walking into the Pink Poodle strip club after exiting a San Jose fire truck. Tonight, an update, albeit a puzzling one. NBC Bay Area's Damian Trujillo has been on the story since the beginning, and he lays out exactly what the city is and is not saying.
I stood here 5 months ago as an angry mayor, Sam Liccardo, blasted the video. Today we've learned the city will take action as a result, but they're not saying what exactly that action will be. The video shows a woman in a bikini stepping out of San Jose Fire Engine 4 and walking into the Pink Poodle Club on Bascom Avenue. After we brought the video to the attention of then Mayor Sam Liccardo, the fire department launched an investigation. And today, 5 months later, an answer. In a statement, the city said, "The investigation has been concluded. We are in the process of taking appropriate action based on what was discovered during the course of the investigation and will provide more information as it is appropriate to do so." In October, former Mayor Sam Liccardo said that if any firefighter acted inappropriately, then, quote, heads must roll. Today, we asked the new mayor, Matt Mahan, for comment. He issued a statement saying, "Like all of our residents, I was shocked when I saw the video and have to believe the investigation will show conduct well below the high standard the women and men of San Jose Fire hold themselves to every day. I have the utmost confidence Fire Chief Sapien will conduct a thorough review of what happened and take appropriate action once that work is done." According to dispatch records obtained by NBC Bay Area in November, there was never a call for service at the Pink Poodle that night, but at 9:06 p.m., GPS data shows Engine 4 stopped in front of the business. The engine then appears to circle the block before returning 4 minutes later at 9:10. Then at 9:14 p.m., the GPS pings 2 miles away, showing Engine 4 stopped in front of AJ's Bikini Bar. GPS data shows the engine was there for about 4 minutes. The city says it will release what it can in a final report
in the coming days. In San Jose, Damian Trujillo, NBC Bay Area News.
So nothing.
Yeah, really, a big nothing burger other than they've reached a conclusion and heads are going to roll. That's pretty much what that means is we can't talk about it because it's an HR issue, right? We're going to put some people on leave or we're going to fire some people. My guess, bachelor party, some sort of bachelor party gone wrong, right? Like let's give the kid the night of his life. We'll take him out in the fire truck and get him a stripper at Pink Poodle to come in, and then we'll get someone at AJ's, the bikini bar, to come and give him a little dance, right? And thought I don't know why, but thought they could get away with it. But yeah, that's my best guess. I really can't explain this other than that.
I want it to be something way more mundane, like that was our friend and we were giving her a ride to work.
Yeah, right. Or even like I was hoping for some sort of medical, not emergency, right? Or something like, she was having heart palpitations or something, right? And they were resuscitating her, right? Or she was resuscitating them. But yeah, reciprocity is so fantastic. Well, we will find out eventually what went down. It's just, this is kind of a frustrating story because they can't really tell us everything yet, right? So why even bother issuing a statement or why bother telling us that the investigation is concluded? Unless, of course, someone leaked that the investigation was concluded, and so the news is calling you have to issue some sort of statement, right? That's probably what happened. And I do love Mayor Zuck's statement, leading with women and men of the San Jose fire, right? Very, very subtle, but very much on point. Good branding. I
say, leave the working girl alone. I mean, my God.
Wait, as far as I can't think of anything that would impugn her or make her the culprit in this situation. I really can't think of any situation where she'd be to blame for this. So we shall see what comes out.
I just really hope it's something mundane, like that's one of the firefighters' sisters, and she just needed a ride. You know what I'm saying? Like I hope it's just something totally fucking mundane and uninteresting.
Brian, my car broke down, and I don't have money for an Uber. I'm already in my bikini and no one will pick me up. Taxis won't pick me up. Oh man. Well,
let's move on to winners and losers here. This story, I've been having a lot of fun on Twitter going after venture capitalists. A lot of, this is the Silicon Valley Bank. It's not really a bank that the councilman and I would tend to use for our checking accounts.
Not really that
a lot of venture money in there. A lot of, some small businesses, mostly startups though, might be using this bank. But
a lot of them, yes.
Not just I just love watching libertarians freak out about this stuff. Like, the government better give everybody back every dime of their money, and it's like, aren't you a libertarian? Anyway, here's the hit from ABC7 Bay Area on Silicon Valley Bank being I guess seized by the FDIC, which is great, I guess.
And we are back now with that breaking news out of the South Bay involving Silicon Valley Bank.
California regulators have just shut it down in what's become the largest failure since the financial crisis.
Back in 2008, of course, ABC7 News anchor Karina Nova live for us in the newsroom following this huge story. Karina, what are we learning?
Julie and Kristen, this is obviously very complicated and will have a big impact on many businesses and people. ABC7 News was at the Menlo Park location this morning where upset customers were lined up trying to get answers. So how did this happen? Basically, a lot of tech companies have their money in Silicon Valley Bank. Because of the hit many tech companies have taken in the stock market, many are now taking their cash reserves out of banks. SVB also had some other assets lose value, which caused even more strain on their bottom line. And then this week, others started pulling their cash out, causing a run on the bank.
We're probably talking tens of thousands of clients. And, we're talking CFOs and CEOs of startups that need to pay their people, that need to invest in technology, that won't be able to scale out their businesses or to last through what could potentially become a recession. And so this cash is actually critical. For any startup, cash is really a lifeline. And so this bodes very badly for the region's small businesses.
It's important to know that Silicon Valley Bank was not a small bank. It's the 16th largest bank in the country, holding $210 billion in assets. And there were estimated to be up to 6,500 people working for the bank. So this will have a big impact. We are gathering new details and we'll bring you much more on this breaking news throughout the day. Live in the newsroom, Karina Nova, ABC 7 News.
All right. Thank you so much, Karina.
This is like, yeah, like any regular person doesn't have to worry about this because their money is FDIC insured.
Yep.
And like, I don't think a lot of banks like payroll, like the account they run on for their payroll for like, or a lot of small businesses payroll accounts are going to have over 250 grand in them. I think businesses probably have some kind of insurance also that helps with stuff like this. I guess it'd be more like medium and larger businesses, though. I would assume small businesses might opt out of that kind of insurance because they're like, "What do you mean my bank's going to fail?"
Right.
But what they left out is that there's a lot of venture money in there, like a lot of VC money in that bank.
Well, $210 billion. I mean, that's a crap ton of money. That's not just the stuff that's mom and pop's investment money, right? But that's really who's getting screwed here, right? Like those big VC investors. Yeah, I mean it's a big hit to them, and it sucks. Hopefully, it's not their entire nest egg in this one bank. They're more likely diversified enough where it's like, okay, it sucks, but it's not going to kill them, and they'll be back. It's really those mom and pops who are reliant on the money. I mean, they probably don't even know that their money is invested or put into this bank, right? And they don't even realize yet that it's going to impact them until the ripple effect hits, right? And the people that they've invested with who invest in this bank, get hit, right? And where does that hit? Where does that hit made whole? So it's more likely on the backs of those mom and pops. So that's the only that was unfortunately the biggest losers in this entire thing. But yeah, it is so much fun to see venture capitalists running for cover, and I picture them like a run on the bank, a bunch of like turtlenecked, blonde, blown out, just VCs at the window, frosting it up.
I just hope fucking Peter Thiel had a bunch of money in this bank. I just really hope that Peter Thiel had a bunch of money in this bank.
This was absolutely that kind of bank. This was like a bank that like they wanted to also to be everywhere and do all the things. They would sponsor all the events, right? They would sponsor the marathons and the 5Ks and the charity balls, right? They very much wanted to be players. They donated. They were to political campaigns too. So it's even funnier for that, right? Like they're just so caught up in being Silicon Valley that they forgot they're actually a bank, and they need to actually they have to do finance.
Oh, this is. I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I guess you love to see it. Fuck it. I mean, like.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not crying. I'm absolutely not crying. I feel bad for any small businesses that are impacted, but I'm definitely not crying for the people behind the bank, especially some of the employees who I know who are kind of. They fit the mold, like they're the arrogant Silicon Valley types. So good for them.
I don't feel sorry for Mark Andreessen.
No.
Not in the least.
not very much at all. Nor Peter Thiel.
Yeah, any of the venture people you see, anytime you see a venture person, you look at their Twitter account, and it's all such and such a capital firm, and then they're posting about this. What you need to post in their replies on Twitter is crabs dancing. Because the crab dance GIF is for just such a thing. Mom and pop businesses, and it's not like mom and pops. But it's gonna be like smaller startups that might have some problems like around this. We'll see. I think like even like small startups have their money in several places. They don't just put all their money in one bank account. I mean, come on.
No, I would imagine. I would hope so, right? But you never know. And sometimes startups, they also, you have no idea how much trust there is with your financial people, right? And what kind of strings you're allowing them to pull and where the money is sometimes. So who knows if they were being a little reckless, and the people at the top aren't keeping an eye on the shop, things could get bad without you even knowing it.
Ooh, this next story could have gone and get your shit together.
Yeah, right. Most of them actually. I was debating which one to put in. Get your shit together tonight.
This next one is San Francisco, the city or county, probably both, to pay a former medical examiner $500,000 in a public defender autopsy scandal. Let's see what's going on here.
It's very down ballot.
Big number, close to $500,000. Our investigative unit has learned that's how much the city of San Francisco will be paying a former top official with the chief medical examiner's office for wrongful termination.
That former official claims that he was fired for refusing to alter the autopsy report of public defender Jeff Adachi back in 2019. NBC Bay Area's investigative reporter Jackson Vanderbecken has more.
I thought I was doing the right thing, but instead, I was fired.
When public defender Jeff Adachi died back in 2019, Christopher Wyrick was the operations manager here at the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner.
Wyrick oversaw the investigation into Adachi's death, a case that police initially considered suspicious. Adachi was found unconscious in a North Beach apartment. He was only 59. Ultimately, the death was blamed on the toxic effects of cocaine and alcohol on his already diseased heart. But Wyrick says the way the autopsy report was handled cost him his job. So he sued the city. While he wouldn't be interviewed for this story, in this video his attorneys posted on the internet and in this lawsuit, Wyrick says the day of the autopsy report was set to be released, he got a visit from then city administrator Naomi Kelly.
She wanted to review the entire investigative autopsy report, and she went line by line, and there were some changes that she suggested. I said no.
In litigation filings, his attorneys say the changes involved removing references to cocaine in Adachi's system and the female companion he was with before he died. The city countered in its response that Kelly was simply asking innocuous questions about cocaine and never brought up the companion. The city says Wyrick was fired months later for mishandling highly confidential personnel documents. Wyrick says that's nonsense.
I was fired because I told Miss Kelly no, that I wouldn't falsify Mr. Adachi's autopsy report.
The city initially called Wyrick's legal claims complete fiction. But we've learned it has now agreed to pay Wyrick nearly $500,000 to settle his suit. The city attorney told us it considers that an appropriate resolution given the inherent costs of continued litigation. The Board of Supervisors still has to approve the tentative deal. We reached out to former City Administrator Kelly, but she didn't get back to us. Jackson Vanderbecken, NBC, Bay Area News.
Why would she? She might be in some trouble now too. Like, we reached out to this person and they wouldn't incriminate themselves.
Imagine that, right? Well, it's funny how often people do call back the press and do offer quotes or do allow themselves to get cornered when they don't really have to. It's no obligation, and you're frankly going to look better if they say, well, we couldn't reach them for comment or they didn't respond or whatever, right? Than if you respond, and I mean, no matter what you say at this stage, it's not going to sound great. So probably better that way than she didn't comment. Yeah,
I would.
Folks will remember this story from. Yeah, right. Folks will remember this story from a few years ago. We covered Jeff Adachi's passing. It was under very not suspicious circumstances, just lewd and somewhat lewd circumstances. So apparently, the city is trying their best to, smooth things over, maybe candy coat the situation a little bit. Understandable, because the guy had a very good reputation. So you can understand why they're trying to protect it and protect their reputation as a city. But yeah, this does not bode well. And San Francisco already has enough scandal internally as it is. Public Works, other departments. So now the medical examiner. Where will it end? You're right. It should have gone under Get Your Shit Together.
That could have, and this could too. Last week we covered the Oakland city, like city computers, basically. The city of Oakland's computer system had been hacked, broken into. Hacked is maybe a bad word, but had been broken into. They were a victim of cybercrime.
A cyber attack is what the news phrases it as, or cyber theft.
So apparently whoever did this is releasing personal information of city employees. That's fucking not great. Fuck these people. This isn't some Robin Hood shit here. You're going whoever they are. This is you're not going after the big guy. You're going after the little guy. That's not ethical. Use your powers for good, whoever the fuck you are.
Cuffed by hackers, the city of Oakland tonight acknowledging that cyber thieves have started releasing the personal information of some city workers.
It read to me like sort of their last-ditch effort to try to get Oakland to pay something so that they can recoup the costs of their operation.
Social security numbers, driver's licenses, and other information.
I like how they had that guy back there. They tried to make, they were like, could you make your computer look a little more computer hackery, please?
Computer stolen in a ransomware attack. Good evening, everyone. I'm Mike Meeback.
And I'm Julie Hayner. The cyber attack has crippled the city's systems and compromised private data. KTVU's Jana Katsuyama spoke with a cybersecurity expert about the hacker group and the danger facing the city and citizens. Jana.
Julie and Mike, cybersecurity experts recommend never paying ransom to some of these hacker groups, but this group already has started posting information on their website, which today had more than 1,100 views. And many people here in Oakland are very concerned that
their infosec's pretty bad if how many views their website had.
Might be exposed.
Unless they're bragging about it. 1,100 ain't much. I've had more than that in my Twitch channel at once
by a
before.
hacker group called Play. The mayor declined to talk about the issue, and the city administrator's office was dark Monday afternoon. Instead, a message was posted on the city's website acknowledging the ransomware attack and warning about a network outage. The hacker group ramped up the stakes over the weekend.
It looks like they have ties to some pretty established ransomware groups like Conti, which was a big one as recently as last year.
Cooper Quinton is senior technologist with the Electronic Frontier Foundation. He was able to access parts of Play's hacker code from an online cybersecurity page. The hacker group's website posted a statement declaring they have access to personal confidential data, financial information, IDs, passports, employee information, and human rights violation information. The website also gives a link to download part of the stolen data, which we've obscured, and the group issued a threat saying if there was no reaction, full dump will be uploaded.
They have an unencrypted copy of the data, an unscrambled copy that they could read or give to whoever they want. And Oakland doesn't have access to their own files unless they pay up.
In a statement, the city of Oakland said, "We are dedicated to a thorough analysis to determine what and whose information is potentially involved, which will take time to complete. We are also coordinating this effort with law enforcement, including the FBI."
We are asking the business owners and those may have information with the city, please check your bank regularly.
Many Oakland businesses are worried about their tax and banking account information being made public, and the cyber attack has made a mess of the city's critical computing infrastructure.
Many of our business owners, and they also worry about, paying their business tax late.
Keep backups, because if you do get ransomed, if you do get infected with ransomware, you can restore from the backups if you have them. But if you don't have them, then you have to make this choice about whether to pay or whether to lose all your files.
Quinton says it is also critical for people to make sure that they update their software regularly, and for cities such as Oakland to really invest more in cybersecurity teams. The city has made some exceptions and allowances for the takedown of their system. One example is the business taxes will be extended, that deadline, from March 1st to April 17th until they are able to get everything back up and running. But certainly this has really been a debilitating blow for the city of Oakland, and they're hoping that some of these outside agencies will be able to assist them as they try and move forward.
All right, Jana Katsuyama reporting live for us tonight in Oakland. Jana, thank you.
Yeah, whoever these fucking people are, they can go fuck themselves if they're like, you're not paying me, so I'm going to release information about the fucking public employees of your city.
Right. Including their social security, banking information if it's out there, not to mention the businesses, again, small businesses getting screwed. Yeah, not too cool, guys. Find someone else to harass, like Peter Thiel or Facebook. But then that being said, Oakland, get your shit together, because
hopefully they will.
Yeah, I mean, this is something, or city governments and any government institution really should be on the forefront of security. And I know when I worked in public institutions, it was constant reminders about phishing and scams and hacks and things of this nature. So please be mindful. Don't click on that link. When in doubt, delete, double delete, spam, block, all those things. All the things.
And
don't
not
let
for
them
nothing.
in the first place.
Not for nothing. I don't know, like, why the fuck all this information was basically in one place. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you would think that something like that city would have, as part of their cybersecurity plan, have their data segmented, like have different systems having different kinds of data, maybe redundant systems having different kinds of data that only back up, reconcile to each other once a month or something. Like, I'm just a dude who has some experience working in information technology on like Linux systems, and I can think of a million ways that you could make it so that something like this, if it were to happen, would take out some of your data, but not all of it. And it seems like Oakland, it seems like it was just all in one fucking place.
They were not prepared. So again, I think another possible career opportunity for you, Producer Dave. There's market iniquity out there, and you can fill it.
So
anyway,
let's go ahead and apparently,
so
there's some barriers in Oakland. Is that right?
Yeah, so that's the thing. I was looking around for stories this week as I was helping put together the docket, and the headline caught my attention because it automatically triggered my thought about the story we've been covering in San Francisco with the barricades being put up to prevent Johns and pimps from driving down the street in the Mission. And but no, this is actually a story about a similar situation happening in Oakland, and it's not really working there either.
Not working out so good.
Not working out so good. So maybe San Francisco can learn a thing or two from Oakland. But here's the story from ABC7.
Now to an update from the ABC7 News I-Team.
Now, the city of Oakland put up barricades blocking intersections near a grade school in East Oakland. That is following our story exposing alleged sex workers and trafficking operations that were crowding the area.
They're just driving around. They're just driving around, and it's like the barriers are not there for the pimps.
Neighbors are calling for a better solution as parents have spotted alleged pimps and Johns moving those barricades right off the street.
I-Team reporter Stephanie Sierra is live in the newsroom with the city's response. Steph?
Yes, Kristen and Larry, parents and neighbors tell us the area around St. Anthony's School was quiet for the first time in months after these barricades were brought in, but we're told that only lasted 3 days. Now the city has committed to take further action.
She sent me the area where it was moved from. Can you see it?
This is Rosa Vargas. We first introduced you to Vargas 1 month ago as she dropped off her daughter at St. Anthony's School in East Oakland, an area where alleged sex workers and human trafficking operations have been seen loitering outside the K-8 grade school. Following our coverage, the city installed barricades at 2 nearby intersections around East 15th Street. But Vargas says the pimps are now moving some of the barricades off the street.
Then she sent me this one.
Parents sent Vargas these photos, pointing out the exact location of where the barricades were moved, some with graffiti on them.
She's letting me know with angry faces that cars can easily drive through there.
She says neighbors told her known pimps and Johns that frequent the area were spotted doing it.
So how did they know that? They started seeing the girls in the corners again. And as of now, the gap is still there.
This week, the city met with community advocates, police, and city council members to create an enhanced response team dedicated to human trafficking concerns and the crime coming into East Oakland. The barricades are now a main focus.
If you live on the street, you can easily navigate to your driveway. But if you're trying to cruise up and down the street, you're from out of the area, it makes it quite difficult. It creates a little bit of a labyrinth for you. And the idea is to make it more difficult for the exploiters, for the Johns, the customers.
Joe DeVries is Oakland's deputy city administrator leading the effort. Now that word has spread the barricades are being moved, he says the city may consider making the barriers permanent.
I'm not talking about those ugly K-rails. If you look at a well-designed traffic island or traffic diverter, oftentimes they incorporate a planter box with some nice vegetation or some artwork. You know, it has an actual curb.
For now, DeVries says the city has committed more enforcement from OPD.
How long do you think these barricades will be there?
We don't know. We're going to track the data really carefully over the next couple of months, and then we'll make a month-by-month decision as to what's the best move.
You know who moved it was that. You see that? Did you see that post office vehicle there? The mail carrier was like, "Fuck this."
Fuck this shit, man. I gotta do my job.
Funding for anti-human trafficking outreach. It went from around $950,000 back in 2018 to $4.5 million this year. And we're told part of that will be funding the needs in East Oakland around St. Anthony's School. But the city is also working with the county and the DA to help these women get into diversion programs. For the I-Team, Stephanie Sierra, ABC 7 News.
What I don't like, and they're always doing this. They always try to basically suggest to you that sex work and human trafficking are like the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not.
Right. No, very different things.
Like there's trafficking going on in sex work, but that's largely a function of sex work being illegal. Right. And like, because it's all illegal, there's a cloak over the whole fucking thing, because nobody's talking, right? Because it's illegal. It's all very, very hush hush. And if you're taking it to the next level and doing some human trafficking, well, that's a good fucking scene to be in for you, I think.
But don't worry, Producer Dave. We're going to have some really nice vegetation and some public art, and that's going to solve everything. And a curb, a really well designed island. Traffic island. There's nothing. I like such a public works staffer's perspective. There's nothing like a beautifully designed traffic island. Just like there's nothing like a beautifully shaved scrotum.
They're going to gentrify the barriers, is what he's saying.
That's pretty much. They've already done it. You can see them out there actually at the refilling the aquifer drainage, vegetation islands. They're out there.
So it looks like this week San Jose needs to get their shit together.
Well, it looks like they might be getting their shit together. That's kind of why I threw this on here. Monterey Road, as folks know, we'll hear more about it, is a very major thoroughfare in San Jose, and it's known as San Jose's most deadliest road because it's had the most number of fatal collisions on a regular basis. So apparently they've got a little extra cheese that they can use to think about a redesign and making the street a little safer. So we're going to learn more from KTVU.
Some big changes are coming to one of San Jose's deadliest roads. Hello again, everyone. I'm Julie Haynes.
And I'm Mike Meeback. A new grant will help city officials kickstart a redesign project for Monterey Road. This comes after San Jose had a massive spike in the number of traffic accidents and fatalities just last year.
New at 11, our South Bay reporter LaMonica Peters has more now on the plans moving forward regarding safety improvements.
This is a first step. This is going to pay for assessing the feasibility and conceptual designs for Monterey.
Monterey Road can be deemed as one of the most dangerous roads in San Jose. In 2021 alone, 7 people.
Well, that wasn't a function of the road. That was a function of somebody not using the crosswalk.
Along the corridor,
correct.
Which was originally built as a highway to move traffic across San Jose. Now, with a $2 million grant, Monterey Road will be reimagined as a slower and safer road.
So at Branham, Skyway, and Chenoweth, we need to re-engineer those intersections so that people can get safely across them, especially when we introduce things like high-speed rail in the future.
Haney says after a call for proposals, the city expects to examine design plans in early 2024. He says the city would like to see protected bike lanes, dedicated transit lanes, and reconstructed intersections. San Jose City Council member Bien Duan.
You're getting $2 million, not $2 billion.
He knows firsthand about
Be realistic here.
Road's deadly history.
As a retired fire captain, we used to call it the Bloody Alley. And we have rescue and we have seen multiple fatalities as people speeding down the Monterey Road, we call that now.
Bay Area U.S. Representatives Anna Eshoo, Zoe Lofgren, and Jimmy Panetta helped to secure the funding from the Department of Transportation's Reconnecting Communities grant program. Councilman Duan, who represents the area that includes Monterey Road, says making it safer will benefit the entire community.
And I want to make sure that we reduce the speed so that way all of us who live in District 7 or even the city of San Jose can feel safe and live in a thrivable community and be part of that community.
Duong says Monterey is a long and vast road, and he thinks it may take more than $100 million over several years to completely transform it. LaMonica Peters, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
So I think they should go the other way. If it's like a main thoroughfare, they should maybe turn it into an expressway.
Potentially. And you can do that with other infrastructure too that'll allow for, multimodal transportation as well. They've got it on some of our expressways already, but it's a very funky street because it wouldn't really function that way all the way through town, mostly through the southern part of town. But once you get into downtown and other areas, even closer to like Kirtner and the plant, it gets a little dicey because there's a lot more residential and other types of small business stuff happening like right up on the road already. So it will take some rethinking, but kudos to them that they have $2 million to plan. That's really money that they're going to use to plan, right? It's going to pay staff salaries, consultants, and that kind of thing. It's not actually going to be used to create and build the vegetative traffic islands or whatever they're thinking about in Oakland. Oh God. Oh, do we have to?
We're going to go back into time a little bit here for Downballot Watch. It looks like, because there's probably, I took a look around too because I saw this and I was like, there's got to be some local politics shit. Nope, ain't shit. Nothing this week.
Not a whole lot going on. San Jose City Council is brand new, and there's a lot of guys literally just learning their ropes. So we'll dig into that in the near future. It's really good that we're on Fridays now, so we can actually look at what happens on Tuesday at the meetings and maybe bring you some of the juicier bits. But no, we're going to take a step back in time because it's worth revisiting. There was a story this week that really frothed me and a lot of folks up, the Good Wife as well, in our local scene, as it were, in the San Jose spotlight, which I'll get into in a second. But I want to take a step back and remind folks of an incident that happened, around the time of, prior to the pandemic, actually. The last time, actually right around the time of the pandemic, when Mayor Zuck was running for city council, and one of his opponents, who was backed by the local labor groups, Democratic Party, other folks, got herself into a little bit of trouble. And we're going to learn more about, take a step back in time, learn about what happened as a result of that, and then we're going to take a look at her attempt at sort of a rebirth or a rebrand.
New at 11, a San Jose woman with dreams to run for city council will instead spend 6 months in jail for crashing her car into a pedestrian, killing him instantly. KPIX finds Maria Medina live in Los Gatos, where that deadly accident happened. Maria?
And Alan, the victim's family spoke to me tonight about their loss of a father, a husband, and why they believe justice was not served.
To say that we were disappointed is an understatement.
Today, Bridget Starkey sat in the same courtroom as Jennifer Higgins Bradanini, the woman who killed Bridget's father, Tim, in 2019, days before Christmas.
To see the woman who killed my father in person is very jarring.
But Bradanini, a former San Jose City Council candidate and president of the Women's March Bay Area, will not serve a sentence to the original charge of felony vehicular manslaughter. Instead, a judge agreed to reduce the charge to misdemeanor gross negligence.
It was a shock to all of us. What she took from us is immeasurable, and my dad's loss will remain forever.
Tim Starkey was standing near his truck in Los Gatos on Blossom Hill Road. He was just about to help put up a friend's Christmas lights when Bradanini crossed over a bike lane and onto the shoulder, slamming into Tim. Police say Bradanini was under the influence of prescription pills used for anxiety and depression.
She said she didn't have an explanation for what happened. That it wasn't intentional. And
Attorney Timothy Lundell knew Tim Starkey for nearly 4 decades.
It was a life taken away that had so much promise, love, tenderness, fun, all the things that any family would want in a husband and dad. gone in an instant.
My dad was just a lover of music and cooking for people.
Despite the heartache, Bridget says she respects the remorse Bradanini showed today in court. It's what her dad, who taught her to live with integrity, would want from her.
Bridget, what would your dad say to you today?
I think that he'd be very proud for standing up, sticking up for him, and defending his character in front of the judge, in front of the woman who killed him.
I like how Becky isn't fucking around and being like, that's the woman who killed him.
Family says they were just trying to get through sentencing, but they will explore future options, legal options against Bradanini. I also reached out to Bradanini's lawyer, but have not heard back yet. Live in Los Gatos, Maria Medina, KPIX5.
So that was I believe we covered at the time that the story too, and I think I had some kind of live, laugh, love joke back then that I can't quite remember.
Yeah. It was the story itself. I mean, it's tragic. It's absolutely tragic what happened. And, you know, I'm willing to forgive and understand and to sympathize. Especially when, you know, someone is genuinely remorseful. And I'm sure that the judge obviously saw it that way, because the charges were reduced to the point where, by the way, she was sentenced to 6 months. She actually ended up serving 3 months, basically house arrest with an ankle bracelet. So she never actually did any jail time at all. And meanwhile, this guy is gone, right? And his father and family member was gone. And it was very much her fault. There's really no question, ifs, ands, or buts about it. And in the wake of this, as she went and served her sentence, and she stepped back from the Women's March, and she stepped back from other organizations that she was a player in. She was an up and coming activist in the Democratic Party, and a leader in the local community, in a lot of local community movements, and a potential leader down the road one day. As she emerged from this sort of what she calls her very dark place, she began to reassert herself, and folks are letting her do it. The folks in Democratic Party and other circles that the Good Wife and I play in have sort of just let her walk right back in and take the lead on things, and be the front and center, not just take the lead on things, but be a front and center voice for their organizations and on events. And she's now, as we find out from this story in San Jose Spotlight, unfortunately there's no video, but a story that was absolutely pitched by her to rebrand herself. She's now the executive director of a nonprofit on the peninsula. She's doing very well for herself, and she's racked, she says, with this survivor's guilt, and she's
survivor's traumatized. Guilt? Yes, right. Are you fucking kidding me?
I'm not.
Sorry, I almost government named you there, Councilman. Survivor's guilt is if you and I are in a car accident,
and I die, and you survive,
right? And
we're buddies,
right? And maybe the car accident wasn't either of our fault. Somebody T-boned the car we were in, and the one who survives is going to feel guilty. Survivor's guilt isn't
I killed somebody and I lived, right?
I mean, you have to laugh, otherwise you just start throwing things, right?
100%. And it's a really a morbid analogy, but the one I came up with when I was talking about this with a Good Wife was, you and I were best buds. We worked at an accounting firm in the South Tower on 9/11, right? And I got out and you didn't, right? And I would have survived. That's survivor's guilt. It's not this. So it's really, I really don't recommend anyone reading this story. I shouldn't have read it in the first place, because it's the most sanctimonious, just bullshit piece of claptrap ever. I can't believe they even published it, because this person is just so obviously self-aggrandizing and self-serving, to the point where, like, it's the hypocrisy runs so deep in this story. She's saying, the grief that this family is going through is immeasurable, and I can't understand, blah blah blah. And I've reached out to let them know that I want to help them in their grief. And meanwhile, this story itself is like re-traumatizing those people, right? And the victim and everyone else involved in it, all to help her rebrand herself and help her reassert herself as a player. And I just can't wait for because this is just how sick and provincial San Jose is. I can't wait for this woman to try to run for office again, like school board or city council, right? There's a city council race coming up in District 10 this next year. I wouldn't at all be shocked if she tried to run for it, because one, people's bloody political memory in this town is just non-existent. Their memory in general is just non-existent. And two, we just and to be fair, the daughter of the slain man, another nice looking blonde lady, right? But we let these blonde white soccer moms from Almaden literally get away with murder, right? It's unreal. I don't really keep it's beyond me that
this would be at least like the murder is intent. So when she was
manslaughter,
she was high as fuck on benzodiazepine, and like probably in some kind of like dissociative state. Maybe she took too much. Maybe she was
fair point.
Maybe she was doing a Jordan Peterson where she was doctor shopping to get the dosage up. But we'll never know any of that because her medical records are private. And apparently none of that came out during the trial. Again, possibly because of her privilege.
And because she pretty much settled in a way, right? She pled no contest, so there really wasn't much of a trial. It was really just sentencing.
Maybe she didn't want to be subject to discovery and stuff. So,
I wouldn't have. Yeah, that's exactly what I would have done. What she did was exactly what I would have done: is plead no contest and just get out of it. Get with us, it was pretty much a big slap on the wrist is what she got. So anyway, this was just, I don't know if there'll be video and we can get into this more later, but I do encourage you, or I guess I don't encourage you to read the story unless you want to get really upset, but it's just another example. And it's fine to make an example out of this person, but it's just another example of San Jose's provinciality when it comes to politics, and I would, like I said, I would not at all be surprised if this person didn't try to reinvent themselves and reestablish themselves as a political candidate. I don't think they'll win. I don't think she'll win anything, but a lot of people will get behind her. A lot of people will put their name behind her. A lot of people will put their money behind her, and to me, be tainted by this entire situation. And people will recall when this happened, she continued her campaign. She paused her. I'm going to pause my campaign. She took a pause for a few days, but she continued and saw, she didn't win, didn't get past the primary, but she continued her campaign. She didn't take a step back and just say, look, I gotta reflect. So she's never really done a lot of honest self-reflection. So I can't buy this story now just because, it's a couple years later and she's suddenly, feeling bad and wanting to.
I was skimming the article a little bit. She's like, I didn't reach out to the family, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no shit, they're going to sue you, dude.
Right.
Your lawyer is like, do not contact them.
Right. I mean, I'm sure, I don't know if her attorney even advised her on doing this story to begin with, and this is another thing. It's like, I know that she pitched this because, a reasonable person, it's a report, even if a reporter was like, hey, let's do let's find out what's going on with that woman who killed the guy. Right. And they do a follow-up story. A reasonable person who has respect for that family and doesn't want to re-traumatize everyone and is legitimately feeling trauma themselves, there's no way they agree to interview for this story, right? Or they politely decline and just say, look, I'm just not interested.
Or they don't write the story. They don't put that picture of her in that nice off. You know what I'm saying? Like you could have done a follow-up on this in a responsible way and been like, sure. And not included her in it, except for you contact her and ask her the questions you want to answer. You want answers to, and don't print any of her spin.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So that was my little rant from the councilman this week, since we had a dearth of local politics to cover. Although that story up in San Francisco about the whether or not to prosecute the police officer is just going back and forth in a lovely way that even involved Chesapeake getting quoted in a story this week. So we'll keep an eye on that one as it progresses. But there wasn't enough news there to really make it worthwhile. So anyway,
we'll keep an eye on this, and I've been writing more for the Defamation Times lately, and I've been leaving a trail of very hurt feelings in my wake, and I might try to hurt some feelings over there at the San Jose Spotlight in my next piece. I already kind of know what I might be doing here if I write about this, because I just skimmed that article and I see what you saw too, where it was like It wasn't like, oh, this person, you know, you could say, oh, this person did their time and now they're out and working. But like the pull quotes that they used of her, it's just like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah,
get the fuck out of here with your, oh, I feel such, get the fuck out of here.
Right. I have this new job and I have a reason to get up every morning to go and help people. I feel like I found my calling through this experience.
Get the fuck out of here with this bullshit. Yeah. I had my biases about Spotlight when it launched. My biases were, you know, I didn't really air them out too much because my biases were actually because the reporter worked for a competing entity that struggled to even get it 2 nickels to rub together as she was doing some of the best investigative work in the fucking Bay Area. And then other people would fucking steal her reporting and then put it in the Chronicle and not credit her. And then here comes the Spotlight, probably funded by some venture capital or some shit. And like they took basically all the wind out of it. And the Metro that's been reporting on San Jose for fucking the whole time I've known of San Jose. You know, now that they're like struggling, they can't get funding, and they don't run bullshit pieces like this.
Yeah, it's a blessing and a curse, right? There's someone, like, for me, it's like there's someone covering City Hall, great, but how are they covering it, right? And are they doing they're doing an adequate job? Are they doing their job as journalists? And you know, you can question Spotlight, right? I think that there's some good intention there, but if you look at like their board of directors, you look at, right, you said that you can't find out the people are funding them because they're actually a nonprofit, so we can't necessarily find out who those donors are. But if you just look at their board of directors, right, they do stories that are you know, very, very much about branding a lot of these folks all the time, right? And just because they, in a little note at the end of the story in italics, you know, note that this person serves on their board of directors or whatever, it doesn't make it right. Well,
I think that shit needs to be in the headline.
Right, or at least right below in the byline, right? And this is very self-serving stuff that they do a lot of the times, and this itself is also that too, right? Like they were absolutely happy to jump on this story and to jump down the throat of this story if you know, Jenny reached out to them. I don't know, but they were absolutely happy to further this narrative and to continue to take on this story and to allow this person to re-victimize her victims. And to re-traumatize everyone involved in the situation, just to get clicks, you know.
I read that like the reporter or whoever, the person who wrote this article, reached out to the victim's family. It's like, leave them. You could do this without them. You could do whatever you don't need them for your fucking puff piece.
Yeah. Well, if anything, that's how you know that she pitched the story, because they wanted to be quote unquote fair and balanced, right, and reach out to and offer them a chance to say something. Not at all surprised that they didn't, right? That's exactly how she should have responded if someone reached out to her to talk about this again. Like, just shut up. Even if it's not a legal thing, just have some humility, have some grace, and just step back.
And I believe in the work you're doing at the nonprofit. Maybe you shouldn't tar and feather the nonprofit with all of this bubbling back up to the surface as you're working there and in some kind of important role, because now like if this becomes if like for whatever reason this people start to get kind of pissed off about this, because this is like in the wake of the Elizabeth Holmes trial and stuff, right? And I'm not saying that these are the same, like Elizabeth, I don't know, some people fucking got faulty results and shit, might have died because of Elizabeth Holmes too, but she did steal money from Henry Kissinger, so Elizabeth Holmes probably a better person than this lady. This lady didn't steal no money from Henry Kissinger before she ran her car into that person. Ooh, did I say, ouch, sorry everybody. But yeah, this is terrible. This is fucking gross. And the rest of the people at this nonprofit should be fucking livid that she decided to put herself in the local media like this. If they're indeed doing good work there.
Well, if they're doing their research, they would know about this stuff already. And like, I don't know. It just seems like there are a lot of folks enabling her and enabling people like this all the time. Like people failing up, as the good wife likes to say, all the time. This happens in Silicon Valley. So it's great to see things like Silicon Valley Bank fall apart, because that's a lot of people that work there I knew were failing up. But it's just consistently this happens over and over again. I shudder to think if this woman were black or
not pretty,
not pretty, right? God knows, right? How folks would she be allowed to reinvent herself this way? I shudder to think, and probably think no. But I'm a cynic, producer Dave. And speaking of which, since we didn't have Downballot Watch or a lot for Downballot Watch, I thought we'd do a little Tesla Watch.
So here's a follow-up. This isn't funny, right? This is a terrible story, but here's a follow-up from a story we covered last week. Not great.
New at noon, we learned today a Tesla that crashed into a fire truck in the East Bay last month was on self-driving mode. The crash happened February 18th while fire crews were on the scene of a previous accident on northbound Interstate 680 in Walnut Creek. The driver of the Tesla was killed. A passenger was injured. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration said today it sent a special crash investigation team to look at the accident. It's part of a larger investigation by the agency into multiple instances of Teslas on autopilot crashing into parked emergency vehicles.
Like, okay, so the problem is with the marketing, right? Elon Musk, being Elon Musk, just tells a bunch of lies all the time, right? And he's like, oh, these are self-driving, this is autopilot mode or whatever. But also, like, I think it's your responsibility as the driver of this car to, like, be a little bit skeptical of that claim and maybe not just assume that the car is going to drive itself. Anybody out there who has a car with all these advanced driver assist systems, please fucking pay attention. Please keep your hands on the fucking wheel and your eyes on the fucking road, even if you have these things turned on. These are not perfect. You're not a perfect driver either. So, like, the combination of this thing being imperfect and all of us being imperfect as drivers or operators of motor vehicles means you should pay attention, just like if that shit wasn't turned on. Maybe you should pay even closer attention because you're beta testing some shit. Like, honestly, like,
yeah, shit could turn into Ed 209 in a second, right? In a heartbeat. So, watch out. And you're not dealing with a situation where everyone's driving Ed 209, right? Like, some humans are driving their own car with just human, senses and capabilities, right? And then you're driving the enhanced car, but you still have to interact with those humans. So you're right, absolutely. Pay the fuck attention.
And in this case, I mean, it hit a parked vehicle. It hit a parked emergency vehicle. I don't know. I feel like your car is not doing any driver assist at all if it doesn't fucking slam on the brakes to avoid a fucking fire engine. My God, like, right. Like, even if you're trying to drive into the fire engine, if the car has got these capabilities, it should prevent you from, like, fucking doing that. You know what I'm saying?
That'd be wise, I would say. I mean, that's a pretty large obstruction, so that it wouldn't sense that is pretty...
With flashing lights, you can see that shit from hell far away. Like, that's why the flashing bright lights are there, actually, is so that you can see it from far away and fucking you're like a bunch of flashing lights in front of me. Nobody else is slowing down. Fuck, I'm going to slow down. Maybe the people behind me will slow down.
To your point, though, about, you never know when things are going to go haywire. Even simple stuff like Bad Baby has this toy. It's a crab, right? And it goes back and forth like this, right? Dun, 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 with little music playing. And it's got sensors that allow it to, bounce off the wall and walk around, basically, kind of like one of the Roombas, right? And of course, like within 5 seconds of this thing running around our house, it's broken, right? And the sensors are not working, and it's just like hitting the wall over and over again, like
That's pretty funny.
I can't get through the wall, right? It's hilarious because it's playing this little music.
But that's because it's not a fucking. It's not because it's not a motor vehicle. That's the reason that's funny, right? Like if it were a motor vehicle, this would be terrifying.
Exactly, right? So like just be aware, right? Even the tiniest, that made me think of this instantly. Well, the sensors broke on that thing in 5 seconds. So who's to say that this new technology, in a car is really working all that well? Anyway, looks like the Teslas are running into trucks, so the trees have decided to take it out on the Teslas and get back at the Teslas on behalf of their friends, the trucks.
I like this fucking tree crashes into Tesla in San Mateo County.
Right.
Fucking critical support to whoever wrote this YouTube video title here. I wish it would have said self-driving tree crashes into Tesla. All right, let's see what happened with that Tesla or tree versus Tesla.
Let's do it.
across the Bay Area.
And one of them on the peninsula, a tree crashed down onto a car on Skyline Boulevard in the hills above Portola Valley. One person was treated at a hospital. Now, 2 people were inside that Tesla when the tree fell. The injured person was treated for leg injuries. When the tree fell down, it blocked all the lanes of Skyline Boulevard.
And
That's a cool stretch of road that happened on, but it's a dangerous stretch of road, especially in like the rain and snow.
Right. Now, do you think the story would have been a story if it had not been a Tesla, if the tree had fallen on a Toyota or a Ford or a Hyundai?
No, but I just, again, a critical support to whoever wrote that YouTube video title. That was great.
Tree crashes into Tesla. Like, I loved it because the tree, like, you're right, like the tree actively drove into the Tesla. Anyway, all right. Well, that's Tesla Watch for this week in the absence of a real serious Down Ballot Watch. But we're going to come back with a vengeance next week on Down Ballot Watch. I guarantee it, for St. Patrick's Day. All right. Well, we have one more thing for you here, and we don't have to watch the whole clip, but we love to do animal and or human interest on another thing every week here on Down Ballot. And this week it's animal interest. And we could have done any number of stories about the great atmospheric river that's hitting us and the hail that everyone might have experienced in San Jose and surrounding environs. But we didn't. But there is one story that caught my eye, and it's just super cute. So let's watch this.
There's a duck swimming on the freeway.
Fucking ducks on the freeway.
Latest. James?
Sal, good morning to you. As you mentioned, this area has been closed since about 3 o'clock this morning. Another chunk of 580 closed even sooner before that, all thanks to that rain that was coming down, causing some of the flooding. You're looking westbound right now, so if you were headed from places like Hayward up to Oakland, this is the lane you'd be driving in. And as you can see, the flooding hasn't really changed much since we've talked about it all morning long here. What has changed, and I think because we know that this is going to last and be like this for a while, we have ducks now on the water, on the flood here on the westbound side of the highway. On the eastbound side, we're starting to make a good amount of progress here. We just spoke to some folks from the California Highway Patrol as well as Caltrain.
How those ducks bite the people that are trying to get rid of the water?
Are having conversations now on what it may
This
look
is my
like
home
to
now.
open
Fuck
the
you.
First and second
On the
lanes
eastbound
of
side,
the eastbound
no ducks.
way of the highway. So again, that's if you're going from Oakland down over to Hayward and toward the South Bay here. There's lots of options for alternatives, although now that we're getting closer to that peak commute time, those places are starting to get a little bit more backed up here. So at the very least, give yourself plenty of extra time. But when it comes to what actually happened here, we haven't really gotten that much rain since 3 a.m. this morning. So why did this flooding all kind of stick around for as long as it has? Well, I spoke to Caltrans a little bit about that earlier this morning.
Right now, crews and our contractors are working at pumping out that water and also trying to figure out what went wrong at that pump house. And so right now we're working on clearing that water up. We're working and making sure that there is no safety hazards on the road. Again, Caltrain's top priority is safety.
So we're talking about 2 to 3 feet of water still standing on the highway here. Again, that eastbound side looks a lot better than it did just a few hours ago. So Caltrans and CHP are considering reopening that 1 or 2 lanes up in probably the next hour or so. As far as
the ducks should get the fuck out of there, actually.
Directions,
right.
Caltrans tells
looks
me
like
they
stagnant water. It's pretty
to
nasty.
have it open by about noon today.
Come on, ducks.
So pretty much the remainder
I
of
mean,
the
they're finding food.
rest of this morning here. If 580 is part of your normal
Old Cheetos.
commute, it is not going to be today. You definitely want to make sure you take pretty much any other freeway. You do have options. 880 if you're coming off the Bay Bridge, 680 if you're coming from Walnut Creek, Concord, Lafayette, that area. You can also take 24 to 13. 13 reconnects down to 580 in an area that's already back open.
You just use the map app on your phone.
You have the options, but you're certainly going to need to expect some delays as well.
Ways.
Watch a Tesla just come fucking careening into the water in the background.
Or out of the water for that matter.
And fucking nobody's even in it.
Perfect.
Just trying to it
Takes
just,
out the poor reporter.
Comes in and takes out the ducks or something.
Oh, the poor ducks. Anyway, well, I hope the ducks found their way home, but they were obviously very confused landing on the freeway in the water. But yeah, be kind to your ducks. They're your friend.
Man, did we learn anything this week? I'm fucking like searching. I don't think we learned anything this week.
Like as far as morals?
Well, no. I mean, come on.
Oh, yeah, probably not.
We're not doing that around here.
But I mean, I learned that. Yeah, no, I didn't really learn anything.
I learned that if you are a business, don't keep all your money in one bank.
That's
especially not a bank where a lot of venture capitalists have their money. Bad idea. Just use like a regular, like a Chase. I know they're not the greatest people, but they're, none of this, they're thinking, even during the last financial crisis, you didn't hear much about Chase.
I learned that if you really want to stop a pimp, some good vegetation is the way to go.
That's right. That's right. You need to gentrify your barriers, and you need to pay attention when you're driving, even if you think the car's driving itself, because it might do a dumb thing like crash into like something that's hiding, like an emergency vehicle with its lights on
in the middle of the road. Yes. So would you like to read us out this week, Producer Dave?
Yeah, I haven't read out Down Ballot when you've been here in a while. This has been our local news show. It's Down Ballot. We're live now every Friday at 7:30 p.m. Pacific. Fans of local love, kind of hang out. We're retooling that. I'm going to be posting some classic episodes to the podcast feed while we get that rocking and rolling. And once we get everything ready for that, we're probably going to have a new logo and just a whole like kind of rebrand for local love. And we've already got some interest. We're going to start recording and putting out episodes of the new format in April. That's the next month, April. Otherwise, just make sure you're following us on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/Echoplex Media. Check out our other podcasts. And the one that's not live, and I probably never mentioned anywhere, is How the Tech Are You? That's me and Matt and HK's show. That is not live because we're not doing it live. You might want to check out the last episode specifically because a cat fell on my head during it. So that's pretty amazing. And, give us money. You can do that at patreon.com/Echoplex, or we have Venmo. You can give us money through Streamlabs. Just go to the support page on echoplexmedia.com. Also, that swag shop. My God, there's just so much good stuff in there. Those Live, Laugh, Lucifer items are for if you're basic and worship the Dark Lord. Other than that, hang out if you're watching live. We're going to move on into Conspiracy Bingo after I take a short break. We'll rock this Locals by Audible Smoke Signal and probably another song or two while I slowly change the color of the lights in the studio and possibly the contents of my drink, though I may wait till 10 or so this evening to do that. Councilman, as always, thank you for joining me this week. See you next week for the show. And I got to get you live in studio one Friday night for the show. We'll figure out when and how to do that.
I'll bring the baby.
Oh, no, that's what no.
She's very opinionated.
I know. I know. I had the cat try to host the other night. I don't need a baby trying to host too. Anyway, this has been Down Ballot. Thank you so much, everybody. This Audible Smoke Signal song is called Locals, and put the auto DJ on for a little bit, and we'll be right back with Conspiracy Bingo.
Time to get the party started. Pick up my phone just to check and see who's calling. Dress up real nice for the ladies at the bar, and I'm driving in my car just to get to where they are. Here at the local scene is where I plant my feet. It's where I smoke my cigarette and I hold my drink. I look at all my friends, they're all blazing green. Here at the front of the stage waiting for MTV. Where are those guys who's standing next to me with a pipe in his hand ready to blaze for me? About 5 minutes later we're all singing Queen. Now get the fuck up on stage, man, rock the scene, yeah. We do what we want, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. We do what we want, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. Enjoy that band. I turn and head back to the bar for a refill, man, because you know where we are. We're headed out to the car to smoke another one and another one. Now just when the magic starts kicking in, I hear relapse playing, you know it's time to head in. Alright everybody, now it's time to grab a new drink. Spark it if you got it and then pass it to me, yeah. We do what we want, And what we want is to jam, so sit back and enjoy the band. We do what we want to do. And what we want is to jam, so sit back and enjoy the band. Enjoy that band. Last up on the bill for the show tonight is Down and Dirty at 5, so we're headed outside to spark up another joint. Now who's got my lighter? Stoner E, of course, shouldn't you be inside? I'm all up in this bitch, being who I gotta be. I'm fucked up like the U.S. economy. The truth is that I don't think logically. Stoner E take you on a psychedelic odyssey. Now inside motherfuckers is rocking me, and outside shit we smoke a lot of broccoli. Rocky the roller, yo, that sexy girl be jocking me. Ain't too drunk to fuck, but I'll probably do it sloppily. We do what we want to do, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. Enjoy the band, enjoy the band. We do what we want to do, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. Molly say that he like jamming, and he hope he like jamming too. Well, I gotta say, thank you, Bob, we do. Yes, I gotta say, thank you, Bob, we do. Well, Bob Marley said that he like jamming, and he hope he like jamming too. Well, I gotta say, thank you, Bob, we do. Yes, I gotta say, thank you, Bob, we do. Yeah, we do what we want, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. We do what we want, and what we want to do, what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. Enjoy that band. We do what we want to do, what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. Enjoy that band. We do what we want, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band.